So we'll call the meeting to order if everybody's ready. So that'll be at 7:04. This should be a fairly quick meeting. As you saw from the agenda, it's pretty light. But I just want to make sure I haven't jinxed myself. So first item on the agenda would be the approval of the meeting minutes from the June 21st special meeting. I don't know if you've had a chance to review that.
I don't, do you have enough people? I think I'm ex officio. I think Gary's ex officio.
Right, so
Is it going to be you and Cindy moving
me
and
and
seconding
Cindy.
everything?
Yeah, I think we kind of got rid of the concept of having a quorum, but I'm not sure that 2 people is quite enough. That said, it was 2 people in June as well.
I'm just saying that, you know, like Gary and I aren't going to be able to help with motion, so it's only going to have to go back and forth to you guys.
Yep, no, this will be very much like what happened in June. So that's I think this is the only the minutes and then the closing of the meeting are the only 2 that require a first and a second or a motion, hopefully. So Cindy, if you're up for it, I'm good. Or she can just leave herself on mute.
I don't know that she heard you. She might not have heard you.
Cindy, can you? This could solve the whole problem.
I shouldn't laugh. This is
No,
this is
you
the
should.
beauty of Zoom meetings, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cindy, are you okay?
I don't know what to tell you.
You okay?
Yeah, okay, you should be able to hear me now.
We do.
Good. Yes, I'm okay.
All
I
right.
unmuted at least 6 times, but that's okay.
That's going to be interesting. All right, minutes,
I moved them.
and I will second them. Any comments or feedback on them? I don't believe I had any, mostly because I think I took the notes.
I did not.
Okay. Cindy, any comments or thoughts?
No, no.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted
I'll second that.
and then vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And we're done. Minutes accepted as submitted. Next agenda item, citizens petitions and comments. Todd, have we received any of those?
I have not.
Okay,
I have not, other than there's been negative comments regarding some of the fescue, or really it's generous to say fescue areas. And I had a discussion with Eric about that, and he was going to act on that as soon as he possibly could.
Yeah.
Because some of them are just unplayable. So
they're
as you know.
unplayable. You can't even walk into them.
No, that's
Just so thick.
correct. And he's aware of it. And given the size of his staff, he was saying, I understand. We'll attend to that as soon as we can.
Okay. All right. Here, any other citizens petitions, comments? Okay. Any new correspondence, moving on to the next item, new correspondence, communications from board members?
I have nothing.
Gary? Cindy?
I've started adding golf advisory board to my signature block on my emails, so maybe
Okay.
somebody will see it.
Yeah. And think about joining us. Okay. Thank you for doing that. Cindy, anything from you? See how quickly she can get off mute again. I don't believe she has any.
Do you still have 2 vacancies or are they full?
No, we still have 2 vacancies. We
And
have a
already-
non-resident and a resident.
1 non-resident and 1 resident. Okay, thank you.
The former city mayor told me, I was talking to her at the retirement affair for Chief Spellman.
Yep.
And she said there's a woman in New London who plays golf and might be available for a board member, for our out-of-town board member.
So I believe Cindy was gonna reach out to her. I mean, Cindy's sitting here on. Can come off mute. I believe she was gonna talk to the former mayor. But I'm not sure where that went. Okay.
I'll drop her a note and then see what happens.
Okay, perfect. And then as soon as Cindy comes off mute, there she goes.
Jesus
Don't
Christ.
put yourself on mute for the rest of the meeting, please.
Okay, there I go. I did talk to Mary and she gave me a name. I do believe I communicated it to you.
Yeah, you did. I
Yeah.
just wanted to hear from you.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, you gave me the name.
yeah.
Then it got lost in my email.
Okay, no problem. I'll get back to you.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Gary, either you or myself can follow up. But I like your idea of putting it in the signature on your email. It'll work.
When I get a chance to send an email, it's rare.
Yeah. There you go. All right. No other communications. If there are any, we'll move on to the golf course report. So we received the June, the July, and the August revenues. Maybe we start with June.
Well, June is the conclusion of the fiscal year, as you all know.
Right.
And wow. The revenue figures are fantastic. If you have any questions, I'll entertain them, but last fiscal year was a record year.
Mm-hmm.
We made, I think it was north of 150K. And we did that, 1,439 to 1,233.
Yep.
So we're in terrific fiscal shape at the golf course with a very sizable fund balance, which is in one respect, well, of course it's a positive, but as far as on the downside, it's going to be difficult for us to approach the RTM asking for revenue to do certain work on the golf course, but we're okay with that.
So we should be able to cover some of the work that is in the plans.
Certainly, and we are talking about that. Absolutely. So yeah.
Okay.
So next year, when we are talking with you folks, and we're going down the list of priorities as far as the capital improvement projects, yes, we'll be talking with you, and we'll be more or less expecting that we're going to be in-house funding.
Okay. That's great news.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be
Okay.
nice to see something accomplished.
No, well, true, absolutely true. This is a recent development, obviously. I mean, COVID came along and we didn't know how it was going to impact us. And the last fiscal year concluded last June 30,
Mhm.
and we were totally we were totally surprised at the revenue figures that we were able to do that. Because we had discussions in this group here that we weren't sure that we thought that there was a chance that we were going to close down. Madam Mayor, you know that. And but as it turns out, we had a terrific year, and this year is turning out to be another one.
Excellent. So I'm sorry, I didn't see whose hands went up first. So let's start with Mayor Granatowski.
Thank you. Just so when I report back to the rest of the council, Todd, should I just indicate that this is just a continuation of the increased rounds? Is it reflective of an increase in season passes? Is it a combination of both? How would you like it characterized when I take it back to the council?
I would say all of the above. The rounds are up terrifically. I think the last we looked was like 23%. The last year's season pass numbers were, well, the year prior, the prior COVID year was 210, and last year, fiscal year, was 313, and this year is 358. So it's a
it's-
combination of both.
So
So
can I just
prior-
share my screen real quick? Because those are not the numbers that are reflected in the report.
Right.
There's keep in mind that these are the numbers that you see are the numbers that are put through on the POS, but there are a number of season passes that are bought online. What numbers?
Right,
I'm sitting almost in the dark.
it's okay. It should be on your screen. So that's an
Okay,
interesting.
yeah,
so
right.
that- Yeah,
Yeah, and so that would make sense. Right, that would make sense because there are a number of rounds that are a number of season passes that are purchased online that don't reflect on that number. But a hand count, the last time I asked one of my assistants to do a hand count, it was 358.
So you gave a number of 210, so that was the season pass number prior to COVID. Last year then was the 270. This year you're up to a minimum of 340.
No, no, those are, no, I don't know why those are not reflect. I know that when somebody purchases a season pass online, it doesn't reflect on our numbers there. But on a hand count last year, it was 313.
So
And on a hand count for the past fiscal year concluding was 358. But I can double check those numbers and get back to this board and update you. But on a hand count of applications, because when somebody purchases online, then I get the number through RecTrack, and then I print out the information and we hand load it into, onto an application. And so those are not accurate numbers, but I can double check them for you all.
Okay.
Okay, so the numbers that are on the screen right now and that were in the document that Mr. Barry sent out, are those
Right.
correct or incorrect? The 270 and 340?
No, they're not right.
Okay,
No, those numbers, they're north of those numbers for
Okay.
sure.
but the trend is still correct that the number of passes increased. We're just not sure of the exact number at this point?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And you can say, Madam Mayor, that on a hand count, and we will double check the numbers for you, for sure. But prior fiscal year to date was 313, and last fiscal year, concluding June 30, was 358. But I'll double check the numbers for you and get back to this board.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Wells.
Yes, the last time, I don't remember, was it 2 years ago or whatever, when we're at the meeting, there was some speculation, gee, we have a lot of money, maybe we ought to do a couple of capital improvements ourselves. And I sort of jumped up and said, absolutely not. The town should fund those capital improvements. And that was one item I didn't report to the RTM. And then a few months later, the weather ate our fund balance. So this was, well, I think it's getting a little too hard to just sort of to say, well, maybe not. And the last thing we want to do is have to go to the RTM and ask for supplemental appropriations due to bad weather or anticipated bad weather. And so I'm not sure, what am I going to tell the, I'll try to phrase it in such a way that it is the possibility of some funding for the in-house funding for improvements to the course.
Well, now the what I had expressed before was that it just kind of off the cuff was that it having a very healthy fund balance at this point was the drawback, and we're making light of it, that it may be difficult moving forward to ask the town for what they have always supported us in, when able to fund the capital improvement projects. Having a healthy fund balance may be more problematic for us to go to the town and say, we need $50,000 to do the green complex on number 15, for example, or the green complex on number 18, for example. And so it's always been the objective of, in discussion with this board, to have about a 10% fund balance for a downturn in weather or some other happening that had a major impact on our revenue. And so, yes, we're a town asset, and we reflect back on the town, and certainly I know that the discussion will be looking at the fund balance that the golf course has, looking at the interest that the town always has expressed in our support, that how are we going to do things, because certainly we have to every year or every other year put back into our product, because our product means everything to the generation of revenue at the golf course.
Well, we once had I think at one point they were toying with a 5-year plan for capital improvement for the course. So maybe if that can come back, maybe they can, work it into that, and perhaps we can pay for things that aren't hardscape. Bunkers, we
Well-
can let the
well,
town buy a
certainly.
bunker.
Certainly. Well, yes, certainly. I mean, town manager Bert was very, very optimistic and very forward-looking as far as asking us to formulate a very, very optimistic 5-year plan with a sizable price tag as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't want to derail the discussion of where the golf course is going with capital improvement. But certainly, certainly we, there's a lot of discussion that has to take place.
Okay, so Cindy first and then
Margaret.
Mary.
Yes,
Yep.
Margaret, when was the last time we had capital improvement funds from the town? I know every year we submitted things.
That was,
and-
that was
2019.
when we did 14, the
2019.
green complex on, what's that?
2019.
2019.
That was the green complex on number 14.
And before that,
And before that, that was
13.
the green complex on 13.
and
Yep.
the capital improvement funds were going, as far as I can recall from these meetings, going into the bathrooms in the clubhouse. That was supposedly put forward for this year. Correct?
But is that not from the buildings fund and not from the golf course?
Correct.
That's
Okay.
not
That's
a
my-
golf,
that's
that's not a
my-
golf course.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Can somebody clarify, is it just the bathrooms on the restaurant side, or does it include the bathroom on the restaurant side, on the pro shop side? I'm sorry.
Both.
It's both?
My discussions, yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent.
So I just got out my budget book. The golf course facilities maintenance building, the golf course facilities clubhouse are coming out of the public buildings account.
Right.
As
Totally
far as parks and recreation, seeing a facilities improvement, I don't recall what that is. I'm gonna have to go in and look at that. Okay, I'll shut up. Wait my turn.
No, but that's what we understood, or at least I did, from these discussions in the past. So we would need to go back and take a look at the 5-year plan per Gary's suggestion and just remind ourselves where we are now after we've had this little pause for a couple of years.
Margaret, is it possible for you to get, I mean, I still have a copy of the 5-year plan. I take it out every once in a while just to look at it and dream. Is it possible to get copies out to everybody again? So they know where we are?
Yeah, we can ask Mark when he gets
Yeah.
back.
Keep focus.
Okay, we'll ask
Thank
Mark when he returns. All right, any other questions? Mayor, is your hand still up, Madam Mayor?
Yeah, this is a new one if Cindy's done.
You done, Cindy?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I was looking in the budget book and I was trying to figure out the fund balance. And I think I saw that the estimate in the budget book was that we would end up on July 1st at around 499,000. Are we pretty much on target with that as far as the golf course fund balance?
That's my understanding.
Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good question. An additional question, Mayor, or we?
Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. I thought I'd taken it down. Apologies.
Turns out I have power today. I didn't see it, so. All right, any other questions on the revenue reports from June, July, and August? Okay, moving on. Got messed up here. The next would be the marketing report.
Mark is the point person on the marketing reporting. I don't have any information for this board.
So he did forward it. Download it and share it in its raw form. So apologies for that. Share the screen. I don't think that means a whole lot, but this might.
One thing that was important was that 2 weeks ago, I think it's an online affiliate of Golf Magazine.
Mhm.
It's called golf.com. This golf course was named the top 100 value courses in the country. And that you can play, that you can have access to and play for, I think the number was for less than 150. And I can tell you anecdotally that since that came out, we have customers coming up saying, hey, I saw that, you know, that this was the top 100 course, and we're really looking forward to playing you. And I get that a couple times every Saturday and Sunday since that came out. So that is tremendous.
That's huge.
We were number 100, by the way. But
Exactly.
But let's not minimize the
Hey.
the positivity of it.
Yeah, last year we were outside the top 100. Sorry.
No, I just said we still made it to 100.
Yes, we were top 100.
What I thought was interesting was 92% are accessing via the mobile device. So
Yes.
Yes.
does that mean, are they also booking? Are they booking via mobile device? I mean, or are they still calling you? Or, you know, are they doing the online bookings and are they using their phones, or can't you tell?
Well, I don't have any, you know, I don't have the data in front of me, but I can tell you that when I'm there and we start booking, we only have maybe a dozen phone calls, but the tee sheet is populated. So people are going online, and when we explain to our customers that they can book, say, you know, today for next Monday, they can call or go online at 5 o'clock. They said, oh, I can go online. And we say, yes, they say, oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
So I think that's the way people are going. Not necessarily folks my age, but certainly the younger crowd is all about that.
even some of us older folks. It's a fairly simple tool to use.
Yeah, I know, but I'm a dinosaur. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was gonna say, my husband is probably all 12 of those calls, so.
No. If you do have to, if you have a season pass, you do have to make the phone call at 4 because they don't open up the online bookings till 5.
That's correct.
So those, some of
Yeah.
us have no choice, but to manage the reservation, that once you have it, it's fairly simple to do online. When
Right.
you remember. Okay. So I think this, so yeah, Mayor, this stood out to me, and this also stood out to me, the fact that we've basically doubled our reach from quarter to quarter, or in a 2-month period forward. So that's pretty impressive. So people are picking up, and that may be related to the article and some other things going on. But it is people taking notice and looking at the yeah, so here's the date, August 10th. So right here, but it's not a big spike. I mean, it's a spike, but then it kind of winds its way down and comes back up. So it certainly played a part, but it's nice to see that people are at least aware and looking for Shenny, which I think is all good news.
Also, people are coming up to the window to pay, and they're saying how excited they are to play, that they've heard a lot about us. That's beyond the the award that we got.
Mhm.
We just, and Margaret, you can say, and Cindy, you can say, we're in really, really good shape. We're people. There are guys that come up to me and say, I belong to XYZ private club, and I'm going to go back to my greenskeeper and ask, how is it that that a Muni has better greens and is better condition than we are? And that's a tribute to Eric and his staff. And keep in mind that Eric only has a staff of 4.5 people. That's crazy.
What is the size of the staff supposed to be?
Typically, according to NGF, this is from memory, a typical 18-hole golf course would have 13.
But I mean, so for the town of Groton, when we budgeted at the beginning of the year, how many people were we actually budgeted?
We had 5, and
Okay,
then
so you filled
and
4
then
and a
when
half out of 5.
well, we had 5, and then Steve Tutel
Right.
retired, and then it was decided that the golf course couldn't hire another full timer, that we had to actually share a person week to week with parks, and so we went from 5 to 4.5. And keep in mind also that that our mechanic is a mechanic, and he has to do the maintenance of the machinery, and he has to do the maintenance on the reels, the cutting beds, and the bed knives and all of that. And so he's part of that number, but he's not a full person as a maintainer either.
Okay.
So it's amazing what Eric and his staff is able to do. And I'll say this, Eric's staff, Margaret, you know them,
Mhm.
and Cindy, you know them. They are all in on the golf course, and they care so much about what they do, and that speaks a lot to them, and it you know is evident in the product that we put out.
May I ask a question about the staffing, please? I'm looking at the 2021 and it was, well, 6.25, but that includes the manager of the golf course parks and the golf professional. So then that leaves 1 equipment mechanic, 2 groundskeepers, and 1.5 maintainers. So that would be 4.5 that was there in 2021. And it looks like it's actually 4.5 still for 2022. But are you
Yeah.
saying you lost someone?
No, we lost somebody 2 years ago.
Okay,
Or,
so then,
yeah, when Steve Tutel retired, the decision was made that we would not hire on another full person. This is my understanding, Madam Mayor. But rather that we would share a maintainer back and forth from us to parks. That's how we got down to 4.5.
that's what I was gonna ask. So the
Yeah.
maintainer is the 1.5, so you have 1 full-time maintainer and 1 half-time maintainer who splits time with parks then?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and so there's no increase in this year.
Boy, I mean,
So we get,
well, so I mean, just speaking off the cuff, it would be tremendous if we're able to, you know, to consider bringing on another full time, or at least having Donnie, who is the share maintainer, be full time over here. I mean, that would make a big difference. And you know, in light of our fund balance and the way things are going, I'm you know, maybe that should be some topic of discussion.
So
Is that-
would increasing the half-time person to a full-time person make a noticeable difference to the quality of the course, to the workload? I mean, how?
Sure, you're adding 80 hours on a month. You're adding, instead of having 80 hours on a month, you're having a full-time person, you know, 40 hours a week for the entire month. I mean, that would make a really positive impact for, you know, certainly worth a discussion about.
I think what's going to be happening, and this is just my impression of the way things are going, I'm guessing there may need to be more maintainers if this press for increasing beautification efforts in the town continues. There's no staff to do any of this. And it sounds like it's impacting you as well. So I don't know that they would pull the gentleman who is half-time with you and half-time with parks if they'd strip him from parks and give him to you full-time. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure that parks in general is going to be looking for somebody. So it may need to be just like another body added in and leave the half-time person doing the park stuff. Because I can't speak for Mr. Barry, but from the discussion we had at our last meeting with the beautification committee, he's very short-staffed there as well. So that might be something that should be suggested to the manager as far as prior to the budget coming up, because they start in December gathering the numbers for budget. So if it's something that you feel is important, I would make that recommendation sooner rather than later. That way he would have
Right.
time to look at things and juggle things around and see what would work and what would not work.
Right, no, I understand. That's, yeah, very good. I'll pass that forward.
Okay. Well, those were good questions, and Todd, thanks. And Madam Mayor, thank you. Because I think it could be very helpful to have extra hands. Even though they do an amazing job where they are, there's just that one little
Sure.
extra bit that can be done.
Sure, I mean, Eric, for a number of different reasons, that is, beyond this discussion, but Eric had the ability to bring on, I think 4 seasonal,
Mhm.
and he could only bring in one college kid who is very, very good, who has worked for him in the past, but he only had, a couple months to work for him. He can't get anybody to apply for the job. And boy, I mean, if we could, in years past, he was able to fill those jobs with kids that were, willing to work in the summertime and supplement our
Mhm.
full-time crew. But that's not happening right now.
Well, maybe next year.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah, because this year's done.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other business? Any additional questions, thoughts? Okay. The next meeting is Monday, October 4th, I believe.
According to the minutes, it says November 1st. According to the regular meeting, the agenda says November 1st.
Does it say November? So we're skipping October?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just stating what's on the agenda.
Yeah, normally, the November meeting, we start formulating
Mhm.
where the rates are going to be going. I think Cindy's right about that.
Okay, that's perfect. So then I stand corrected. The next meeting will be Monday, November 1st. There we go. Because I guess because we're already halfway through this month anyway. So with that, Cindy, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No. Meeting adjourned at 7:47. And thank you all for your input tonight. Good
Thank you.
discussion on a short stuff.
Keep up the good work, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.